Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And today I'm going to be showing you the first of two battles. Two battles in World of Tanks, both on the El Haluf map, both random battles, both featuring players in the pattern, both of them top tier, both of them firing almost exactly the same amount of total shots during the course of the battle, both, while differing in the details, featuring very, very similar results in all but one crucial way. What way is that, Jingles? Well, you're just going to have to wait for the next video to find out, aren't you? I'll bet you were the kind of kid that used to sneak down on Christmas morning trying to catch Santa Claus in the act of delivering your presents. Okay, I might have to admit that I may have been guilty of doing that myself once or twice, but it was different in my day. We didn't have Santa in colour, we had to make do with black and white. So, everyone say hello to, really? You see what the FV4201 did there? That was deliberate. He deliberately waited until the last second to turn into him and try to spin him around, just so we could get ahead of him. What a douchebag. Anyway, I was introducing the star of the first replay in today's video. This is... well, to be honest, at first I thought it was a weeb name. Doiganunchi. That's how I went and looked it up. See which anime show it comes from, and it's not. By some miracle, it's actually Romanian for knee, which is one of the more bizarre names in World of Tanks I think I've ever come across. And I kind of like it, but I'll be buggered if I know how to pronounce it. The weirdest thing about this is that the player who sent this replay in, judging by his actual name, he's definitely not Romanian. So I'm not really sure what to call him, because I'll be buggered if I'm trying to pronounce that. Because every time I look at it, I just want to say it in a Japanese accent. Doiganunchi. Tell you what, we're just going to call him Kev. No, not Dave. His name is actually Kevin. So, Kev it is. Right from the start, this match almost ends in disaster. I mean, just look at the minimap. The entire team are over here. This is the lemming train to end all lemming trains. And the couple of tanks covering the other side of the map are either dead or running away. I think we can quite safely say that the friendly tanks up here outnumber the enemy tanks up here by at least 2 to 1. But the heavies aren't pushing. Everybody's just poking ridge lines, playing peekaboo, letting themselves get fought to a standstill by half the number of opposing tanks while artillery hits them over and over and over. Meanwhile, Kev's looking at the map, and he's one of the few members of his team who is, and realising that there are 4, 5, possibly 6 enemy tanks all within a stone's throw of the capture circle. Gets a lucky shot on the move against the EBR over there. Fails to take any damage in return. The WZ up ahead is reversing, trying to keep what little armour he has pointing in the direction of the oncoming enemy tanks, and yes, they are being capped. So far there's only one enemy tank in the cap circle, but there's a lot of enemy tanks between him and the cap circle, starting with the Object 907. Kev doesn't want to sit here and fight him. He's on a timer here. He's got to get to the cap and reset it. The WZ's down, which was fairly inevitable. Here comes an STB-1. Well, the good news is that the STB is at least capable of looking at his minimap, but the bad news is he wants to stop and fight on the corner, so Kev's going to take advantage of that by hoping that that's going to cause the enemies to split their fire. Unfortunately, the Object 907 didn't fall for that old gag. An IS-32 has also turned up, but he also wants to stop and fight on the corner. And they only have 40 seconds to reset this cap. And yep, the Object 907 definitely understands who it is who needs shooting the most, so Kev's not going to waste any more time on him. Now he's got to get past the T-55A, and he really can't afford to slow down and stop. He's quite lucky there, in that the T-55A missed and he managed to hit while on the move, which is something that the M48 is actually quite good at doing. But he's rapidly running out of time. He's got to be just... there it is, it's the EBR. And with just 6 seconds to go, Kev resets the cap. But again, it's a bit of a good news, bad news situation. The good news, he did reset the cap. The bad news, he lost half of his health doing it. He didn't even get the kill on the EBR. And all of those clown shoes in the lemming train up on the northwest corner, well, they couldn't win the fight when it was stacked in their advantage, and now that most of the surviving members of the team have been drawn back over here, They're definitely not winning the fight now that they're actually outnumbered over there. But, well, historically at least, most casualties are inflicted upon an enemy force while they're in full retreat, and the enemy tanks over here are in full retreat. Perhaps we can kill them? No. No, there are tanks dying. Unfortunately, they're still all on Kev's team. Well, I suppose you've got to look on the bright side. He has managed to regroup with all of the surviving members of his team, only because everybody who didn't come running back over here is now dead. Always got the opportunity to get a bit of revenge against... No, typical. Blew his tracks off. Can he reload in time? No. Right then. So, now what? I mean, they're outnumbered 6 to 8, but that's not too bad. And he does at least have the consolation of knowing... Ooh, nice shot. That the guys on the team who are still alive are the ones who are at least capable of looking at a mini-map. So, probably in the top 10% of World of Tanks players. Or am I just being guilty of desperately trying to find a silver lining here? I mean, there's no guarantee that they all know how to read a mini-map. They might just be over here because, big angry tank shooting at me, run away! I suppose either option is likely. Now, the TVP down there is definitely feeling a bit adventurous. Thing is, Kev doesn't want to stray too far from here because, well, they are outnumbered, and all of those victorious enemy tanks from the northwestern corner are probably on their way. But if the TVP is going to spot targets, Kev also wants to be in a position to take advantage of that and at least give him some kind of support. Unfortunately, while the TVP did momentarily spot the T-55A, the T-55A spotted him too, and enemy artillery is giving him a bit of a kicking. And contact has broken out up to the north. And his surviving teammates, in particular the STB-1 up there, who's dug in for dear life, do not have a lot of health left. The WZ-113G fake tank has died, so once again the team's on a 2-kill deficit. The STB-1 up there is dug in like a tick on a dog's back and preparing to sell his life dearly. He's not leaving that position alive. They've just lost the IS-3 too. Artillery is evacuating while he still can. Stand by to repel boarders, I guess. There's going to be a whole bunch of very angry tanks poking through those gaps any second now. Oh look, the TVP's found the enemy object 279E. Jolly good. And he's died. Well, hopefully he did some damage to him, because now there are only 3 tanks left. That STB-1 is probably only good for 1 shot. He's on such low health, even if a shell just whizzes over his turret, the air friction's probably going to kill him. Oh, the projectile sees you, but he missed. Hooray! Unfortunately, the fun police were paying attention. And, yeah, there it is. Well, shit. Could have done without that. Once again, we have ourselves a bit of a good news, bad news situation. The good news is that the STB-1 is hanging on for dear life, and he's almost certainly about to die, but he has at least managed to take the Type 4 Heavy with him. The bad news is that Kev is currently suffering from what I like to call a sudden rush of shit to the brain. He started this match with only 5 rounds of gold ammunition, and he's got it loaded and probably doesn't realise that he's using that precious gold ammo to knock over the building that the T-10 was hiding behind. And when there are only 2 of you left against 6 enemies because the STB's dead, and one of the 2 of you is artillery, a careless expenditure of gold ammo like that could come back and bite you in the arse. Now that final shot from the M53 may have looked like it wasn't even aimed at the T-54, that's because it wasn't. The M53 just managed to kill the T-10 before he died, and Kev managed to reload in time to finish off the T-54 before he could draw him over that ridgeline and potentially right into the firing line of a whole bunch of enemy tanks. And you may have noticed that just for a few seconds there, Kev was fighting 1 against 5. Oh, nice snapshot kill on the Progetto, and wow, his turret actually worked for once. Yes, it's our old friend in the T-55A again. And Kev was very unlucky not to do any damage there. But right before he killed that T-54, he was fighting 1 against 5, which means that there is a potential Kolobanov's medal up for grabs here. And, well, that's going to be easier to do if he can kill the T-55A before the 279 makes it over here. Yeah, he knew exactly where he was. There's only one patch of bushes on top of that ridge. He's obviously going to be hiding behind them. But he's got to get up there and finish this guy off before the Object 279 makes it over here after killing the TVP, and the 279 has had plenty of time thus far to do it. And yep, of course, there he is. Now, fortunately for Kev here, I mean, it's not much, but he'll take it. The T55A is more concerned with not dying than actually winning the game. Because if he'd stayed where he was, he could have sandwiched Kev between him and the 279. Kev would almost certainly have killed the T55A, but then the 279 would have killed him. Luckily, the T55A was more concerned with saving his own skin, and he's actually given Kev a chance. Because now, Kev has the T55A's position, and given what's facing him, it's a pretty good position. Well, it would be a pretty good position if the enemy team didn't have artillery. Now, bearing in mind that the 279 has just loaded high explosive, so he's obviously a thinker, and it very, very nearly worked. That 212A doesn't even have to hit Kev to kill him. Just a near miss will do. He's in the open. He's got no cover to hide behind from artillery. Can anybody tell me why artillery isn't shooting him? It's not like he's shy or anything. He's hit Kev before and he's got a kill. So can anybody tell me what artillery's doing that's more important than winning the game? T55A down. Somehow the 279 doesn't kill him, and bang, there's the shot from the 212A. I mean, it missed. And it missed by enough that it didn't kill him, but we haven't seen or heard anything from the artillery for at least 2 minutes. And I know the 212A's got a long reload, but it's not that long. And can anybody explain to me why the 279, who's proven that he knows what he's doing, allowed that to happen? Well, I've taken control of the camera here, looking for the follow-up shot from the artillery. And there it is. So what the hell was going on for the 2 minutes prior to that? What did artillery have that was better to do than win the game? Answers on a postcard, because your guess is as good as mine. Oh man, I just realised I'm really showing my age today. Answers on a postcard. Does that expression even have any relevance anymore? How many of you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that? It used to be the case that on TV shows they would often have a quiz, and it would be open to the viewers, who would have to submit their answers on a postcard, and then the correct answers would be drawn out of a bag and you'd win a prize. So that's where the expression answers on a postcard comes from. Just consider this a public service announcement from me to all of you millennial kids who have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, fuck off. I'm not a boomer, I'm Gen X. My dad was a boomer. Bloody millennials. Know the price of everything and the value in nothing. Oh my god, I've turned into my dad. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop now. Kev? How's it going, Kev? Have you found that 212A yet? Because if you haven't, you better get a move on. There's only 2 minutes of this game left. You know, I'm actually more than a little bit impressed that the 212A hasn't just suicided yet. I mean, if he was going to, he would have done it by now. So, well done to him. At least he's a fighter. Of course, that's not great news for Kev. If he's not suiciding, he's going to be parked with his back up against the wall, somewhere where Kev can only approach from one predictable direction. And he's not over there. Or he's going to be hiding in a bush, somewhere that gives him a clear view of the cap circle. Now, speaking of the cap circle, can anybody remind me how long it takes to cap in a random battle? Is it 1 minute and 30 or 1 minute and 40 seconds? Not that it matters, because either way, Kev no longer has enough time. So that's a bit of a bummer. He's got the Spartan Award, he's got the Defender Award, he's on 4 kills, he's done 3,500 damage, and he was fighting 1 against 5 enemies, which means he would have gotten the Kolobanov's medal. And he'd have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for that pesky interfering 212A. Aha, our feline correspondent is chiming in with her opinion on the subject. So, Akazuki, clearly you know about your tanks. What did he do wrong? Really? You think he wasted too much time clearing the ridge behind him to make sure the 212 wasn't there? Well, technically you're not wrong. I mean, he did spend too much time doing it because now he doesn't have the time that he needs to cap. But what if artillery had been there? He would have been turning his back on an artillery waiting to shotgun him. Right, so now the cat's telling me okay, Boomer. I don't know. You stick a picture up on Instagram, you put a couple of videos of her up on YouTube, and suddenly she thinks she's an expert on World of Tanks. Shut up, I don't have to listen to you, you're not my real dad. Yeah, you can tell she's a teenage cat. I definitely preferred her when she was a kitten. Well, oh, hang on. Plot twist. And with 7 seconds to go, I think the 212A was seriously overestimating just exactly how far his vision extended towards the cap circle. Shut up and go to your room. Nobody wants to hear your opinion. My house, my bloody rules. I don't know. Cats these days got no respect for their elders. Anyway, Kev, well done. The boy done good. He got the Kolobanov's medal, which I'm pretty sure you'll... Well, maybe you won't agree, but I thought he deserved it. Apparently, though, that was only good enough for a first-class mastery badge, no ace tanker. And the story doesn't end there, because with 3,672 damage done, 5 kills, Spartan, Defender, and the Kolobanov's medal, and bearing in mind that he only fired 5 rounds of premium ammunition, and probably wouldn't have even fired that much if he'd remembered that he had it loaded when he was shooting at the building between him and the T-10. But despite that trivial expenditure of gold ammunition, after a game like that, by the time he'd paid his ammunition resupply costs, that Defender, Spartan, Kolobanov's medal game cost him nearly 8,000 credits, even with a premium account. Now, coming up on my next World of Tanks video, we'll be looking at almost exactly the same situation. Again, it's going to be a player in a pattern. Again, he's going to be top tier. He's going to be on this map. It's going to be in the same game mode, and he's going to fire almost precisely the same number of shots. But there are going to be 2 significant differences. One of them is that he's going to be firing 140% more gold ammunition. And the other difference, well, you're just going to have to wait and see. In the meantime, congratulations, Kev. And I suppose commiserations as well, because despite that result, you somehow still ended up owing money to the game. Everyone else, I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.